This is another face mask pattern, and I have come to this one. I still haven't sewn the red, white, and blue ones in the back there, but someone had, at Elder Services or the Senior Center, had brought up the CDC website, face mask, and I've added their link to my pleated face mask pattern video. And I made a CDC mask earlier today, and I don't know who came up with that, but it was one of the most frustrating things to do in my life. This is similar, but different from theirs, and the difference is the casing and the elastic. Now this has a little bit more coverage, possibly, than my pleated one. The pleated one will go as high, but not quite as far under the chin that you see here. So it gives you a little bit more room, leeway. It's very easy to do, and if I can put the camera down, I will maybe put this one on there to show you the difference, or maybe I could put it on right over it. But 8.5 inches square is what you start with. So you cut an absolute square, 8.5 inches. The top edges, you fold under 1/4 inch and then 1/4 inch again on the top and on the bottom. Then you fold the sides in about 1/2 inch, a healthy 1/2 inch. And then this is different from the CDC one. There are small differences already. But this you can more or less stitch in one pass around. Start here. These two wide edges are going to be the casing for the elastic, each of them. So start here, leave enough space to get a safety pin and the elastic through there. Go down here. Up here, make sure you leave this open here for a casing. So you go on this raw edge. Then zoom over here, back to where you started up here. So you can go around once. I'm still using 8 inches of elastic. Put a safety pin through one end of it, close the pin, push the pin up with the elastic through here, and then what I am doing is stitching it. I take the two ends, I remove the pin, I take the two ends of the elastic and line them up, stitch them. It is a little tricky. You stitch, they're on top of each other, and you stitch them, and then you slide that back into the casing. As you can see here, you can't see that stitching. And so what this does is this is loose. This is an actual real casing. And you can adjust the mask by bunching it up or not bunching it up. And it will fit different faces. Slightly different from my pleated mask, where I attach it like that. And in my case, 8 inches was a little long, so I tied a knot in it that way. So you can do it either way, but this is with the casing, and it is maybe a little bit more snug, but not an awful lot. There's not a huge difference. But some people have actually asked me for this type of mask. So there it is. And it's fairly easy to do. Now, the CDC one became frustrating for me because what they have you do, first of all, they have you using a 6-inch piece of elastic. Then you tie it in a knot. After you get it through the casing, you tie it through a knot. And then you stitch across the ends there and there. So you've got 3 inches of elastic wasted in here. That's not really being used for anything. It's loose in there. But because the elastic is stitched there and there, your ear loops are only about 3 inches. It's not adjustable. I don't know who came up with that pattern. And I was screaming while I was making it. So I had to change things a little bit. And they use a 10 by 6 square but they have it going 10 inches wide. And the one that I made earlier that is in the wash right now, it brings the mask, the CDC one brings the mask to the beginning of the ear. So it's 10 inches wide and only 6 inches tall. This ends up being, let me find the ruler, I think it's about 7 finished. And this would be narrower because it's a wider, nope, still ends up at 7. But I'm leaving this as a raw edge, and I'm not turning it under twice because you need that casing to be fairly easy to get the elastic through. So this is a raw edge right here, but this is a finished edge. So another pattern for an easy to make face mask, 8.5 inches square, 1/4 inch folded under twice at the top and at the bottom, a healthy 1/2 inch on the side, almost 3/4 of an inch, stitch down here to make a casing, insert the elastic, pull it up tight. You'll have to bunch this up when you stitch it. Stitch the 2 ends together, slide the stitched portion back into the casing, and you have a mask.